Alright, so this video is going to cover equations with two variables and what their solutions look like. So you need to take these notes on this paper that you picked up today. So the first thing says the sum of two numbers is 20, and what are those numbers? So we want to create an equation that's going to allow us to find what those two numbers could be. And the first thing that we think of when it's the sum of 20 is that 10 plus 10. But you can have many different combinations whenever you are figuring this out. So the first thing we need to do is create some variables. So the two most common are x and y, and we need to, so we'll use both of those, and we need to identify what each variable is going to represent in the equation. So we know that we need two different numbers. We can say that x is going to represent the first number, and y is going to represent the second number. And so since we're doing the sum of these two numbers, that means addition. So if I add my first number and my second number, the sum of that is going to equal 20. So this is going to be our equation that we can use to find any combination of two numbers that are going to add to equal 20. Okay, part B says that we need to find 6 solutions to this equation. So what we could do is plug in a number for x and solve to get y, but since it's such a simple equation, we can just think of combinations of two numbers that when we add we get 20. So the first one that we said earlier was x equals 10 and y equals 10, which gives us the point 10, 10. Okay? Another combination we could do would be x equals 2, y equals 18, which would be the point 2, 18. We could do x equals 6, y equals 14 to get the point 6, 14. And then we could make x big, so x equals 19, y equals 1, which gives us the point 19, 1. We could do the point x equals 0, y equals 20, which would be the point 0, 20. Or backwards, we could do x equals 20 and y equals 0, which is the point 20, 0. And then that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. And all of these are going to be solutions to this equation because when you add the two numbers together, they're going to sum to 20. Okay, so then what we want to do is we want to go through and graph all 6 of these points to see what it's going to look like. So we have the point 10, 10 is our first point. We have the point 2, 18, 6, 14, 19 and 1, which is in this little middle square right there, 0 and 20, and then 20, 0. So these are the 6 points, and whenever we look at this, we notice that the line is straight. So if we went through and connected all of these points, then it would create a straight line, and straight lines also contain slope. That's what makes them linear. So part D says, why does it make sense to represent the solution to the equation x plus y equals 20 as a line in the coordinate plane? So kind of what we just said, there is a constant slope between the points. This creates a linear function. So if we wanted to, we could find any point that would be on this line if we connected them, and any point would give us a solution to the equation x plus y equals 20. So we could create decimal points, fractions if we wanted to, just anything that would lie on this line would be a solution to that equation. Okay? So the next, the back of the paper, we have to determine which of the following points are included on this line. So you had this question on your study guide for your quiz, but just to go over it again, we have 5 points, and to determine if they're a solution to this equation, we need to plug in all 5 points and see which points are going to create a true statement with this equation. So the first point is negative 10, 10, so we have 5 times negative 10 plus 2 times 10 equals 10. So the goal is to solve this, and hopefully we get 10 equals 10. So this gives me negative 50 plus 20 equals 10, and negative 50 plus 20 is negative 30, which does not equal 10, so then that means that the first point, negative 10, is not a solution. Okay? So now we're going to plug in negative 210, so 5 times negative 2 plus 2 times 10 equals 10. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10, plus 2 times 10 is 20, equals 10. Negative 10 plus 20 is 10, equals 10, which is true, so then the second point is a solution to the line. So if we were to graph this, this point would lie on that line. Okay? Next point, 0, 5. So 5 times 0 plus 2 times 5 equals 10. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 2 times 5 is 10 equals 10, and 10 equals 10, which is true, so that's our second point. We're going to plug in 5, 5, so 5 times 5 plus 2 times 5 equals 10. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 2 times 5, which is 10, equals 10, and this gives me 35 equals 10, which is not true. So then the fourth point is not a solution. And then lastly, we're going to plug in 2, 0. So 5 times 2 plus 2 times 0 equals 10. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 times 0 is 0. And then this gives us 10 equals 10, which is also true. So then the third point that's the solution is 2, 0. So if it asks for if the points are included on the line, you can do this approach. Or if you have access to a graph, you could graph your line and see if these points are on the line. But right now, the easiest thing to do, since we don't have a graph, would be to plug in all 5 points and see if they create true statements. Alright, and then the last thing we have is it asks what the solutions are to the following equations. To the following equation. And then which one best represents y equals x minus 1, or plus 1. Okay? So the solutions to figure 1, we have this point, negative 2, negative 1 is a solution. We have the point negative 1, 0. We have the point 0, negative 1. We have the point 1, 2, which is this point. This point is 2, 3. And then this last point is the point 3, 4. So those are the 6 points that are shown in figure 1 that are the solutions to this figure. Figure 2, we have multiple different points. And the good thing about a line is that it goes on and on forever. So this line has infinitely many solutions because since it goes on forever, we can always find a different point. So between these two, figure 2, so we're going to come down here, figure 2 best represents the equation because it contains all solutions. Figure 1 only contains 6 solutions, and we want all of them. So once you're finished copying this down, go ahead and start working on your practice problems.